Today what we're going to be doing is we are going to be changing the water pump on the starboard engine. It has a little leak where the actual seal is, so sometimes you can rebuild them, but we're just going to replace it. It's a lot easier. Um, we are using a little can called PB Blaster, and Jordan's going to show you right now what that is. Basically, if you have anything rusted, it'll penetrate in there and unfreeze the bolt without snapping it. It's very important. You want to work that very slowly and don't rush, because if you snap a bolt, you will be you'll be spending a lot more time doing that than doing this. So Jordan can basically it's right here.
Yeah, basically we let that sit overnight. We sprayed it a couple times, let it sit. But if you see all this rust, that's caused from a leak. But that bolt right there, let it sit on there. That bolt, see all this rust, very, very bad. So we're actually going to sand it, paint it, use a rust converter, and then use the Yanmar paint to cover it up. It should be like new. We're replacing this. We're going to be using this housing and replacing the pump. So you need the gasket. You need this gasket that connects the housing with the pump, and then you need, in here, there's a O-ring that your gear goes into here, but you need the O-ring to seal the water from there. So, but we'll show you the process.
Okay, guys. So we just got the bolts off of the pump. Now,
So basically, I think they actually replaced these, because we actually from Yanmar we got studs that go into the block, and then you put a nut on top of it. But I think they actually replaced these right here. But we might be able to reuse these.
Those are good,
as long as the head's not bad. So maybe we'll soak them in some PB Blaster and do that. But I think the reason why is because this might be easier to get off than a stud when they do rust out. So we're gonna probably soak these up a little bit, try and sand them off and see how it goes. But right now we're gonna take off that other this side of that's to put the water in it. It goes through and then comes out of here. But we're gonna take that off, clean it up, and then we're gonna try and get the pump off with a rubber mallet, and then try and work those screws. That's another story.
This is also a new fuel filter that we did, and new oil filter, so we'll keep you updated. All right, guys, so we finally got the pump off. Basically this is it. It's pretty badly corroded. These two screws we're gonna have to work on, but it was leaking from right in there, where you can see right there, leaking pretty bad, and it was leaking for a long time. So we're gonna replace it. We just got a brand new pump, and then we got to use this housing to put it back, and we're gonna let you know. We're also going to be repainting that whole side over there with a converter and a Yanmar paint.
Alright, this is the inside. Very rusted. We're actually going to sand this off and spray it down with corrosion to convert the rust, and then spray it down with Yanmar paint. Alright guys, so we're at the next day. We ran into a little complication. We couldn't get the bearing off. You need a bearing puller, so a good friend of ours, Carlo, very nice guy, helped us pull it off with the cheese cutter and a hydraulic. But basically what we did is first we sanded off. I'll show you the rusted, but basically we sanded it off really well. You know, taped it off, of course, but got all the loose rust off. Then you got this stuff that's really good. It's about $33 a can, but it's really good stuff. Kimball Midwest. Basically what it does, it actually converts the rust. So it'll take you know, the rust, and actually a chemical will convert it to like a primer, so you can actually paint over that. So once you do that, it's gonna look all black. This is a black color. You know, so tape off, spray that, let it dry 24 hours. So right now we're at the next day. I came back, and right now can't really see it very good. Let me get a flashlight. Okay, we're back. I got a flashlight. So basically we just sprayed it off with, now after we did the black primer, the rust converter, now we sprayed it with Yanmar gray, so it matches this same color. Now it's a bit wet, but we basically sprayed that so it matches, you know. Went over all the rust with the primer, then went over with the Yanmar gray, which is right here. You can buy this MAC 317. You know, that's the Yanmar gray color. Really good stuff. Basically, you just shake it. Once you hear the rattle, keep shaking it for about 1 minute after that, and then start spraying. Make sure your nozzle's good before you spray so you don't mess up. But basically, it just touches it up and, you know, gets it looking nice. But
Alright guys, here back with Jordan.
so basically what we did, I showed you about the painting over there, but this is the new one. We bought this for about $367. Basically the leak comes from there, like I told you before, but you could actually rebuild it. So what we're going to do is probably rebuild this one, open it up. This obviously needs a lot of work. We're going to rebuild it, put it back together, use it as a spare, keep it on the boat. But basically the problem is when these bolts are so rusted, you got to actually have an impact drill to be able to get them off, and which makes it, you know, pretty hard if they're rusted. But what you're going to do, get those off. That's going to separate the housing from here. You're going to get this gasket off that goes over here, which looks like this. You need all new gaskets.
That's the part number on that.
Graphite gasket.
So 119787-42570, just in case.
Yep.
That's between here and here.
And then you're not going to put any grease on this gasket. That's just for the graphite. It's going to stick. You want it to stick with that. But you do want to grease your bolts. And then you're going to put this little O-ring right over here. This O-ring goes right over here. Put a little bit grease on that, but not too much. You could grease up the gears very little, but basically we replaced these gears. We reuse this gear. You're just going to take off this nut with an impact drill, you know, and then just put the same one back on the new gear. But basically that's how you do it, and you can actually repaint these if you want. But this one's not bad. Once we put it on, might just touch it up a bit, but won't look bad. So that should fix the leak. So we're going to do a second coat on it, and then we'll get back to you once it's running and installed.
Alright.
Alright guys, so basically once you have the pump assembled, you know, you can put a little bit of grease right over here in that area, just so you know, over the years or whenever you have to change it, you can get it off. Hit a little bit of grease on here on the gear, and then you're going to put this O-ring over here and just touch it up with grease. Not too much, just very little, just to grease it up, just to make it a little shiny.
Lubricated.
But yeah, lubricated. But once you do that, we're going to put the pump back on and see you soon. Alright guys, so what we did, we just installed the pump. We had to just cut this a bit just to get it on so it's okay. But right there, just to give you guys a little look. Got all the rust out, cleaned it up. That's the new pump, obviously. Right there. But, you know, looks like a new engine. Looks a lot better. But there it is. Thanks for watching.